Good morning, Real Life LA. Welcome to our online experience.
We are so excited to have you joining us today. It is going to look a little different because you and us get to all participate together, whether you've been able to meet with us in person, you haven't been able to meet with us in person, you're with us for Christmas. We're all together for this experience, and we are excited.
Yeah, so in a little bit, we're going to run off to another area to all hang out together, have a conversation with you guys live. But right now, Vanessa and the team is going to lead us in worship. So after that, we're going to go into the experience with you guys.
Church, we're happy to have you with us on this New Year's week, or I should say week leading into New Year. Let's think about all that God has done and all that He will do and that we believe He will do in us and through us this year. I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. A man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together, and
I've seen so much, still I'm certain that the best is not yet come. Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. I see a wave of revival, preceded by justice and grace. The old and the young run to Jesus. Oh, and all the sins that held us back are laid to waste. Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. For all I've seen, I still believe. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing in us. Your love is never gonna give up. You'll never give up. You'll never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You'll never give up. Never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. Never give up. Never give up on me. I know. I know. Your love is never gonna give up. You'll never give up. You'll never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You'll never give up. You never give up on me. I know. I know. Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. For all I've seen, I still believe. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. I just want to pray for this year as we are entering into a new one, a brand new one. And that means there's a blank canvas. That means there's opportunities. That means there's a lot of things coming that we don't see right now. And I just want to pray that we would trust the trials of 2020 and trust God in those trials, that He's just trying to show us what He wants for us, and He wants to see us rise above all the troubles and all the division. He wants to see us come together. And Lord, we just ask that you would help us with that and guide us, because we can't do it without you. We know you're doing new things all the time, and it's a new year. So we just want to keep you at the center of this new year. Help us love our loved ones better. Help us love our enemies better. Just help us love like you. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. Never give up on me. Your love doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing.
In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory, to a cradle in the dirt. Praise the Father, praise the Son, oh, praise the Spirit, three in one. Oh, God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Oh. Till that stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the soul of all who'd come to the Father all restored. And the church of Christ was born, the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of all shall not live, shall not fade. By His blood and in His name, it is free, and I am free. For the blood of Jesus Christ, who has cleansed and rescued me. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Oh, praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise, yeah,
Hey, Real Life, it's Pastor Jim. It's good to be with you today. We're doing something a little bit different for our post-Christmas worship service. We wanted to spend a little time, since you guys are often gathered around in your living room, spending time with family, spending time with friends. We want to do a little family time up here as a church staff. So 4 of the 7 of your staff are going to tell you some stories about the history of real life and how we've seen God work in our midst over the past 4 years. And since Raul is new to our staff, I know some of you may not have tuned in for a while and are tuning in now in this Christmas season. You may not recognize this guy to my left. Raul is our new student minister, and we thought it'd be good to kind of catch him up to speed on all the history of real life as well. So appreciate you tuning in, and if you have questions for us, you go ahead and write them in the chat box in the comments. We'd love to interact with you as well, but we're going to tell some of our favorite stories together as a church, right? It has been, I was counting in my head, it's been 4 years and a quarter, I think.
Yeah, you were a little fuzzy on like how long it was doing the math. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 years and a quarter year, or 4 years?
4 and a quarter, yeah. Because our start date was fuzzy. We didn't like have a, it's not, so most churches when they launch say, we're going to have an opening date on this, and so everybody come and invite your friends, and that was not at all, like I didn't know our first day was the first day.
Oh, because it was in a park, correct?
It was in a park, and it was impromptu. It was not planned or strategized.
I wasn't here yet. I was out in North Carolina, so Raul and I were not here for this story. You weren't there.
I was not at the park.
You're the only one who can tell this story. Yeah.
So I
if it's
remember at this
wrong, you're-
park,
Can agree.
I looked really good. Bullets were bouncing off me. I'm the only one. Nobody can correct the story. I can tell whatever I want.
Some of you were there. You can say what was actually
put in the
happening in the
comments
comments.
right
That
now.
works.
Okay, so what did the
So, okay.
first unofficial?
So here's what happened. Some friends of mine contacted me, and they said, we don't know where to go to church this weekend. We just want to have a Bible study in the park. This is on a Thursday, they call me. And at that point, I'm looking at moving somewhere else in the country. I have resumes out. There's a church in Austin that said, buy a plane ticket, come out, interview with us. There's a church in Colorado Springs that says, buy a plane ticket, come out, interview with us. So that's what I'm doing that week. Like literally the next week, I'm going to buy plane tickets. So they call me on Thursday and say, we don't know where to have church this weekend. Can we have a Bible study in a park? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And then they call me the next day, which is Friday. So we're now 48 hours out from Sunday. And they said, you're going to lead it, right? Because we don't know what we're going to do. It's like, yeah, I guess so. How many people are coming? And they said 30 or 40. So they pick a tiny little park that would be appropriate for 30 to 40 people with no bathroom, which is not appropriate anyway. And Sunday rolls around and 140 people show up. And we're standing around. They have not advertised it well. They haven't put it out all over the place. People are walking up and they're saying, I don't know how that person found out. I didn't send out an invitation. And we had a little Bible study in Old Hammer Park over in Glendora.
It's not little with 140 people. It's not little.
No, it was a packed little park, yeah. And at the end of the service, Brian Clay and Zach Swire stood up and they said we don't feel like this is a gathering that should die. We feel like this is a movement. We think it should be a church. And then Brian Clay said, and Jim's agreed to stay. Jim was going to buy plane tickets that week. Jim was going to buy plane tickets to Austin and Colorado Springs that week. You were one of my references, so the churches are calling you.
So Colorado, like I talked to Colorado for a while about how great Jim was, and for sure, he's probably coming out to you. Yeah. So thanks for that. Thanks, Brian. Brian's probably watching right now. Thanks, Brian, for
What were you
that.
thinking when they vocalized that on your behalf?
So I'm thinking Brian Clay has been on the front of a Wheaties box, so I can't argue with him in front of a crowd.
Olympic athlete, yep.
So I nodded because I didn't know what else to do.
What
and
do
the
you
next
do?
week, we didn't even meet because we had no plan. We had no building. We had no staff. Brian had just announced we're having a church, and so there it was.
Did you stay? No, like did you stay that week and not travel to the?
Yeah,
other
I didn't buy
places?
plane tickets because at that point everything had been thrown for a loop. So we didn't meet the next week. The week after that, we met at the Lefetra Center, and 250 people showed up.
Wow.
Were you at that
I
one?
was
You weren't at that one either?
still not there.
And then the week after that, you connected us with Sandberg Middle School.
Yes.
And we got in there, and that's where we began worshiping.
Yeah, and some of my favorite stories about the beginning from the park, which I missed, and Lefetra Center, was hearing anecdotes from people who showed up and said it felt a little bit like what heaven was going to be like because they were so excited to see somebody that they hadn't seen in a long time, and it was like discovering that the same people they loved Jesus. It's just an incredible beginning.
Yeah. And then, so the first Sunday at Sandberg, we announced, I said, I think we're going to have to go to 2 services. So that was our first, still no musicians, no budget, no plan, no anything. And then were you there
I was
You were
there
there
the
pretty soon thereafter.
Second week at Sandberg.
Okay.
Yes, but I think you
Just
announced that
attending?
I was coming. Yes.
Okay.
But you were in. I announced pretty soon thereafter Stacy's coming, right?
Yes.
And that was uproarious.
That's
excitement.
very sweet.
Yes.
That's what I've heard. I
No,
was
that
not
was.
there when he announced
No, it was.
my
They
name.
were. Yeah.
You weren't even there.
And this is so your predecessor, Kevin Gandy, who
Who I've talked to on
recently is,
FaceTime. He's awesome.
right, recently become a professor. He joined probably a week or two after you, and so there was this one little window of 2 weeks there where I told Stacy she was my favorite employee because she was the only one we had asked to join.
Favorite employee
Great.
that Real Life had ever hired.
That's right.
I just
You
want
were the
to let you
only-
know, I've saved the email.
Yeah.
We should put it right here in
So-
the comment section.
Didn't
We
you work
might.
there? Didn't you work there too?
I don't know if I was even technically. I wasn't
He-
paid
no,
at that point. I
he
was
wasn't
just. I was
paid for a
I thought
volunteering.
he'd
little
pick for
while.
himself. That's why I asked.
And so forever after, Stacy has reminded Kevin that she was the favorite employee.
That's right. And everyone thereafter.
That's right,
I'm the
that's right.
bestest ever first hire. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then here we are in a sweet little building.
So fast forward.
Yes.
We began to build, right? We added Vanessa joined, and then you came in. What was the date? It was in December. It was Christmas time.
But like a whole year later.
Yeah, you guys have been around for a year. I was helping lead a church out in North Carolina, so my friends are probably watching because we're still friends with them. And there was a day where you called me up, and you're like, so the board was meeting, and we're talking about kind of what the next hire could look like, and we really think you should, consider coming out. And we were really happy in North Carolina. It's really green there. It's overcast, and I like the overcast. And I remember turning to Christine afterwards. I said, I think we're moving back to California.
And when having conversations with Anthony when I was still in Michigan, and he told me that story, I stopped and I was like, "You must really like Jim." Honestly though, because to be out there with your family.
You're saying that like that's a surprise. To you. like I don't
know you.
understand
I didn't
how
know
that
you
could
very
be
well.
the
He
case.
didn't say,
I haven't said
Jim
this.
was
I
so
haven't said this to
handsome I
them.
needed to move back.
I haven't said this to them
He said
yet.
he really
But
liked
my
him.
first interaction with Jim, when Anthony was interviewing me, or just getting to know me, and this is Jim the whole time.
Yeah, I like to listen.
And I got off. I was like, I don't think he likes me. And then after, Anthony's like, no, he loves you. And I was like, I had no idea what was going on. But hearing that they moved away, and Jim called, and Anthony was like, yeah, I think it's time to go back. I was like, that must be a place to go.
Now you were happy there, but there were things starting to move there. Part of what told us that God was in this was the fact that you had a conversation like 24 hours before.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with leadership there about, whether we stay there, what that looks like, and they were naming, so that if I was thinking about other things, what that would look like for me. So yeah, Christine and I were going, well, we like it out here. We don't know what next looks like, and then you called, and that it was really clear what next was going to be.
Yeah, and part of what I like about the history, the stories of the history of our church, is how many times it was clear that God stepped in and intervened, and there were just things that lined up in ways that we could not have lined up ourselves. From week one, when Brian Clay and I had lunch at 1 p.m. on a Sunday, and he said, we're going to need a projector for putting lyrics up on the wall. And at 4 p.m. that day, I got a text from somebody who said, God told me to give you my projector. And so from the very beginning, there were these supernatural moments that started to come together. Right? Pretty soon after you, Brenda joined in.
Yes.
And then Royce came after you.
That's right, yeah. So Royce, our tech director, manages the office. I'd known her since she was in middle school, high school, from a church that I had been working at in Pasadena when I was in college. And so
you must be really old.
I'm my friend Stephanie Caro, who might be watching, has a picture of the moment when I became old. Yes, so I know she'll have to explain that in the comment section.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so now
Post
I'm
the picture
old.
in the comments.
There
I
you go.
want to
Thanks,
see.
Steph.
Yes,
and any other
please.
pictures you have of Anthony that might be questionable.
Oh no, please don't.
Please
No,
do
please
it.
don't.
Please.
Yeah, so no shark things. Sharks are terrible. Yeah, so I had known Royce. I knew Royce's family. I'd served alongside her mom in ministry, and so asked her to come in and fill in for, it was like 2 weeks. I was like, I need you for like 2 weeks. Can you help me for 2 weeks? She's still here.
Yeah.
That's great.
Those 2 weeks went for a
That's
while.
long 2 weeks.
That means
Just
you're
beware.
the baby.
I'm
You're
the
baby.
newest person
You've been here how many months now?
Not even 3 yet.
That's your months. We count months for him until he's been here 2 years, right? He's 36. No,
It's
weeks.
like,
We're
it's
supposed
like
to
when
count
you have a
weeks.
kid, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you count months. Yeah.
I like
36
that
weeks
you
old is
both
Raul.
had children and you're not sure how to count the ages of
I
children.
vaguely know how many kids I have. There's 2 little people around the house.
Nobody who knows me is surprised that I can't keep track of time well. Like, that's just not, I don't do calendars well. That's the thing.
Yeah, good. So you came in 2017. Next big move, I think, was building shift, right?
That's
Wasn't
right.
that the next huge
That's right.
move?
So we had promised the school district when we moved in, give us 3 years. Give us 3 years. We'll figure things out. 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And this is before me. So I come in being told, hey, we're about halfway through those 3 years. Like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
helpful to know. So we put a property search team together to kind of discern what next would look like. And some of you who are watching never experienced this at the school, but there was some anxiety around we don't know what next is going to be.
We were closing in. Not that I didn't love prior to walking out on stage to preach every Sunday morning, the only, quote unquote green room that we had. Do you remember this? It's been so long, yeah.
Is the girls'
Was
locker
the girls'
room?
locker room.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
so before I'm sitting in the girls' locker room going, this is so uncomfortable. I really don't want to be here.
Every
Like it was
Sunday.
cold. Yeah. And
Yep.
we were coming to the end of a 3-year deadline with nowhere to go.
I do like that when we were there, I have a friend, Chad, who's probably watching today, who goes to our church, who loved that we were at the place where he also could point to a part of the campus and go, I said my first curse word right there. when he was in middle school.
lot of
He's
those,
like,
yeah.
I love being at a church where, and that's where I was like, oh, that's good,
Yeah.
that's good,
That
Chad,
was
that's
really
great.
good. The school was so gracious to us,
Yep.
and we made such good connections there. And we've loved them and that school ever since then. So,
Absolutely,
yeah, that was
absolutely.
good.
So we had that search team together. We're looking for all kinds of things. We had evaluated, I think it was like 13 or 14 different properties and locations. Nothing was quite working. And then Stacy had said, hey, there's this used car lot. Go check it out. It's over in that part of town. And so Jim and I were in the car. We were driving around looking at properties.
It's
We
right
looked
around
at
Arrow.
2 that day, and they could have worked. They might not work. And I go, hey, we're already driving. We're probably on our way to Chick-fil-A. Can we just go by this property so I can tell Stacy we did it? And he goes, oh, is it going to work? I said, no, it's terrible. I looked at it on Google Maps. This is not going to work, but can we just drive by it? And we drove by it, and you're like, why are we driving by this?
Yeah.
So we can tell Stacy we did.
Yeah.
So thanks, Stacy. We drove past it, and then you turned right.
Now, you said let's drive around the block.
Sure,
So
I'll
we-
take
so
credit
we
for
drove
this.
around
So
the
I
block.
said,
He's
let's
like,
go around the block.
absolutely.
We literally were just driving. We were driving blind. We had no destination. Let's drive around the block. And we pulled down Valley Center, and there was this church sitting here that we didn't know about, had never seen before. Nobody told us about it. And Anthony was riding shotgun, and he said, hey, there's a note taped on the window. Let's go look at it. So we go up and read the note, and the note says, please join us at one of our other locations. And we can hear the smoke alarm chirping inside because nobody's changed the battery in a while, which told us this was an empty church building. The night before, I had written down a prayer in a Google Doc. And I haven't written a prayer in 20 years because I tend to Jesus and I are buddies. We just talk. I don't have to write him letters. But for whatever reason, I felt possessed to write it down. And I wrote down in a Google Doc, so I still have it. Jesus, I'll be the pastor of this church the rest of my life if you want me to. But I don't know how to find a building. I said, I didn't even find the school. That was Stacy. I need you to help us find a building. So this is literally 24 hours later. We drive up in front. There's an empty building. And then I look at the sign in front, and it says Valley Center Nazarene Church. And I thought, I think that rings a bell. I think I've heard that name before. And I realized a friend of mine who had been a mentor and a coach to me. He was a retired pastor and a retired seminary professor who's now in heaven. He had gone and was watching over us. I remember him saying, I think he pastored a Nazarene church over here. I wonder if this is the church he pastored. And I took a picture of the sign and sent it to his daughter in Connecticut because we had kept in touch. And I said, was this your dad's church? And I said, I think it's empty. And she said, oh, I just got goosebumps. Yeah, Dad was a pastor there in the 70s, and it was just the chapel down there when he was the pastor here. Just the little. And the reason they built all the rest of this was because he had pastored the church into a season of growth, so they had to build all the rest. And this was exactly the size we needed, down to the number of classrooms we needed for kids.
You had no idea up until that moment.
No idea. And so she goes, yeah, that's it. Let me put you in touch with the owners of the building. And that was January 2019. April 2019, Easter Sunday, we moved in.
Yeah, we'd done
It was a 3-month turnaround.
We did a kind of pre-launch service here in March, and then we had from then until Easter to make the building ready. We kind of lived here for a little bit, as you can imagine. But it was
30-year-old orange carpet.
oh my gosh,
It was older than that.
I saw photos.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it with my own eyes, but I saw photos. And I was
it's
like,
been neat
wow.
to watch. It's been neat to watch our neighbors love us being here. You know, and you've met some of them. We had the woman who walked up. She doesn't go to a church anywhere. She considers us her church now, so she gives to our church, but she already is busy on Sundays. So I don't think she's only ever watched us online, but it's because she was in the neighborhood and saw you running VBS and was like, I want to help support that church doing that, which is really neat. And we just had neighbors reach out last week who said, hey, if you know a family in need, we want to help. Because the neighbors here love having us in this neighborhood, and we got here because we because you sent us to a used car parking lot. So
You're
thanks.
welcome,
Yay,
Jesus.
good job.
One of the
Yay.
things I think is so neat about our story and property is we have been in more buildings than what we've just talked about, right?
Yeah,
so we were at
yeah.
APU, and that's why we
bounced
went
around
to
a
two
bit,
services.
yeah.
We were in the packing house, and way back when, and we actually Grace Calvary, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, but that's where we had some of our first youth groups and Bible studies, and we didn't know at the time that how we talk about how important the church is, and it's important to partner with the kingdom, and it doesn't matter who goes where as long as you love Jesus and you care about each other. But that's just been a tremendous part of our story, is reaching out and partnering with.
And even the time we spent at Foothill Vineyard, right?
Yeah.
And we're friends
Right.
with them, and we
Right.
did our midweek program there for how long,
2
right?
years,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's been neat.
Speaking of Grace Lutheran, that is so 2019 kicks into gear. We went to 3 services, January 2019. Something happened in
I heard there's a
not
thing called
2019,
brunch service.
2020.
2020.
And I didn't
It
do this
feels
year.
like it was so long
No, no,
ago
we
because
moved
this is
in
the
in-
longest year ever.
April 2019, we moved in. 2020, we went to 3 services, added a brunch. Things were really accelerating before 2020 happened. Before right at the beginning of 2020, things were going great, and then we kind of know the rest of it. But in the midst of all the mess of 2020, something remarkable has happened, and a little Lutheran church in Glendora has gifted us their property and their preschool. So starting immediately, we're going to be moving in there and helping to run the preschool and care for and love the staff and all the kids and the families of the kids. And that's just going to be a dramatic shift in the history of our church. I mean, imagine, a couple Christmases from now, us telling these stories.
And that's just
It'll
another
be-
testament to how you said earlier during this conversation that God has just aligned so many things that, like, there's nothing that we can do except just, like, ride the wave and be like, this is, if he wants us to go in this direction, we can do it. And that's one of the things that drew me to real life, was everyone was so willing. The people I met when I came out here at the homes, they were just like, whatever you need. If you need to borrow my car, I was like, you just met me like 30 minutes ago. You're already giving me your card to loan me your car to if you need to take kids anywhere or something. I was like, these people are devoted to the mission. And God honors that. And that's why we got gifted a building. Like, who's heard of that? I would talk to churches back home in Michigan, like, we're going to have 2 buildings now. And there's like, that's something churches dream of 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, to have 2 campuses. And God has allowed us to have that opportunity right now. And I don't think it's a coincidence, because through my experience of churches in Michigan, how willing, I'm going to start crying, how willing Pastor Jim and Anthony and Stacy and everyone is to serve the community and reach out to you guys. And so it's been a crazy 3 months for me, but it's been really exciting to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have, you named it. We have such a generous congregation, and it's something that, struck me when I came back and just got to see kind of this spirit of generosity that exists within this congregation. I think the more our people live into that, God is then just generous back to us.
Yeah.
And, you said, there's this wave you're on. If you're a part of our church, the next wave is always just coming, because they don't stop. Like, there's always a next thing, which is exciting. And I think it is, the more we lean into, being a congregation that says everything we have, it's God's. You've met families who've said that, like,
Yeah.
hey, use our backyard for youth stuff because we need to meet outside for small groups.
Yeah.
And they're,
And
we-
with this new campus in the preschool, we would love for you guys to be a part of that. I mean, if you're watching this right now or know someone who wants to be involved, that's something we're always looking for you to be a part of, is, what God's doing with the preschool, with student ministry, with church outside and inside when that comes in a couple months.
We're really going to need a lot of help. It's going to take a lot of volunteers. We're going to have to do cleanup projects over there. We're going to have to spend time encouraging and supporting teachers, the staff over there. It's not a simple plug and play. We really need to lean into improving that campus and getting it shining and getting it ready for all the ministries we're going to do there. So appreciate all of you who have jumped in and already helped. Stay tuned. We're going to be throwing out dates and saying, hey, we're going to have a cleanup day. We're going to have a service day over there. We need painters. We need construction. We need everything else. And so it's going to take a good amount of work to get everything up and going again as the world opens up in the spring.
Yeah, one of the things I would say you could start doing now is pray about how you're going to get involved in the life of the church next year. For some of you, that might be you're ready to join a small group. For some of you, it means you're going to come help us clean up things at the preschool. And for some of you, it means that you are going to dedicate yourself to praying for the mission of the church and what's next for you. We're excited to partner with you in that, for sure.
Yeah, one of the things we do January's coming, and every year the members of our church, we shred all of their membership covenants, and we say, you get to start over again, and we look at the things we as a congregation say yes to, right? Like, this is who we want to be. And so I'd consider you, hop on the website this week, look at those things and go, is this who I want to be this year? And where is God going to grow me? What's that new thing I'm going to step into? Because one of the things that our people say yes to is, I'm going to serve somewhere in the church, and I'm going to be in a small group. Because we really think that's where discipleship is going to happen best. We really think that's where God's going to refine you, is in community with others. And so if you're not yet in a small group, who do they talk to, Stace?
That'd be me.
Oh, it's you. That's why I asked. Yep.
Yeah, but let us know. You can always send us an email, info@reallife.la, whether it's about joining a small group, being ready to serve, being ready to know what it's like to take a step into the baptismal that is ready for people to start getting baptized again. We have a list of people that are ready. It's, I know, a little cold, but we can turn on the heater, and we are ready to baptize people.
It's not cold. Yesterday, him and I were working outside in the courtyard. Beautiful. And I looked up the weather. It was 21 degrees in Michigan. I was like, I'm so glad I moved. It's great.
Well, that's a little summary of where we've been in the last 4 years. I am so thankful for all of you who have joined us in this journey, either from the beginning or even very recently, and the best is yet to come. So as spring rolls around, we're going to open up. We're going to start having services in the building again. We're going to bring back brunch. We're going to have a new campus. We really need your help, and it's going to be so exciting to see what God does in 2021. Please come join us and take part in this. It's been amazing at every step along the way, and I can only promise it's going to be more amazing in the year to come. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Sunday. Blessings on your worship. Blessings on your holidays. I'll see you again soon. Real Life Church, I appreciate you so much. 2020 has been a challenging year for you and me, for churches and for businesses and for our whole world. It's because of your generosity and God's grace that we've been able to hold together as a church and continue doing vital ministries. When you give donations to Real Life, you support things like giving Christmas presents to families who need it at this time of year, or sometimes groceries when somebody's lost a job. You've kept a vital children's ministry growing when kids so much need time with other kids. As you know, we're moving into a new church and preschool this coming year. That's going to require a lot of work. I'll call on you and ask for your help with work days and construction, and for your graciousness as we put together the many ministries that will happen on our new campus. As we come to the end of this year, please consider Real Life Church in your year-end giving. Your gifts go to good things, and our church staff and board are wise stewards of the gifts that you give because we want to make a big impact for Jesus in our world. If you'd like to know how to give, make sure you check out reallife.la/give. That'll give you instructions on how to continue to support the church. Thank you so much. God bless you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.